This probably obviously you look at the list of who we have signing today, and um, we addressed pretty much every area that we when we set out our game plan last spring. We really we hit our numbers that we wanted to hit. Actually, went over in a couple areas. Um, there's a few kids in our program that won't be coming back after the spring, which yeah, I won't address that today. But um, uh, I really like what we were able to do in this recruiting class. Carl really spearheaded the effort. We set out a plan in the spring. The coaches worked their butts off. Like I said, Carl kind of was in charge of it, and in charge of the recruiting, and the coaches followed up and worked their butts off, put a lot of miles in, and did a really nice job of recruiting these kids. And I think we addressed some areas I thought we needed for our program going forward. I think we addressed those and accomplished what we wanted to accomplish, and in short order. I mean, we've never signed this many kids at the early signing period. We were ahead of things. Um, Targeted certain kids, got them, and feel real good about what it does for our program going forward. And there was a lot of hard work. A lot of people put a lot of work in, not only the coaches, but the other people who meet the administration, uh, the training staff, the Terry Grissetti, our strength coach, everybody who meets with these kids. It was a team effort, and I'm excited about the group we have coming in.
Can you talk a little bit about Hayden, the only local guy you have?
Um, uh,
Gump.
oh, Hayden Gump. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. We're excited about Hayden. I mean, he's a kid that we targeted early on, and big physical kid, tough, all about football. I mean, boy, he represents this area really well. I mean, as far as what he brings to the table, we'll add some other local kids that are, that we're also talking to that'll be probably joining our team as walk-ons, preferred walk-ons, that type of thing. That's more for. We'll have another one of these in February, and you'll have a better idea um, of who those kids are going to be joining our team later on. But Hayden's a kid who, um, to me, was a no-brainer. I mean, I think he has a chance to be a really good football player. Big, physical, athletic. I mean, probably more of an inside guy. Probably be a guard for us, a center guard. But think he's talented, tough. Um, just we're excited about Hayden, what he brings to the table.
Looks like a lot of offensive linemen, defensive secondary. Is that position of need or position of needed
Well,
depth?
I've been chasing it on the offensive line since I've gotten here, and you got to balance off the chance to win with the chance to, obviously what you want to try to do is, like, our numbers were off when I first got here a few years ago. Whatever it was, it seems like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever I got here, and we had to flip that, and but you want to win right now, and and try to balance numbers at some other positions and try to get the roster. We're still working really to get the roster exactly where we want it, numbers wise, at the different positions, and I think we're really close to having it there now, which enables us to bring in 5 high school offensive linemen that are going to develop from our program from start to finish, which we haven't had that luxury to do since I've been here. Because obviously you want to. Sometimes if you have some positions in need, you have to take kids, maybe junior college kids or transfers, and it's hard to turn your roster over. We've been able to do that, um, and also, so we're basically bringing 7 offensive linemen, or 7, and down the line we have an 8th kid targeted, that'll be joining our team, which we haven't had that luxury, and it's going to help us not only next year but going forward.
Why Carl? Is he the I don't know, recruiting coordinator, or did you kind of just want him to
Yeah, Carl, he headed up the recruiting when he came back, and he's organized. He knows. He was the right guy. That was part of his duties when he came back, and I leaned on him to kind of. We developed a vision together, and he's really spearheaded it, and how he organized the staff and how he did different things as far as fixing some of the things I think that we needed to get fixed in the recruiting area. And we set a vision together, and Carl followed through with it, and we were really excited with how it came out. I mean, like I said, we were ahead of things. It was organized from start to finish. We we got all the staff was on the same page from beginning to end, and kind of accomplished what we needed to get accomplished.
With 23 today, what do you anticipate, at least in February, or is it just?
Well, we have a couple kids. One kid, for instance, I mean, I can't talk about kids that haven't signed yet, but we have another kid committed to us who will be signing in February. We're talking to a couple other kids that may be signing here shortly, and could be the next couple weeks. We have a couple, maybe one or two that may join us mid-year. Just kind of working through some other things. So we'll probably anticipate bringing in a few more, probably 3 or 4 more guys before it's all said and done, either signing in February or before February. Just depends on how it works out.
Just so I'm clear on it, when you said when you took over the numbers are off, is that because of the numbers of JUCOs?
Well, it's really, I'm just talking about the numbers and how I envision a roster looking.
Obviously, you'd rather have guys, freshmen, so you can develop all the way through.
Absolutely, but that's like I said, when you're trying to win now, which we're in the business of trying to win now, sometimes it's hard to take fresh, have the numbers, have the room to address your current needs, and also be able to develop your freshmen from beginning to end. That's not easy to do. I've learned this a long time ago that when you have a blueprint of this is what you want your numbers on your roster to look like, it's not something you can flip overnight. And I want to say that my first year here, I think we signed 29 kids for 15 scholarships because we needed to build depth on our football team, right around 15 or 16. So we signed a lot of, I want to say, like, for instance, the linebacking crew we signed, who was a Delavade and Cash Mitchell and Christian Randall Posey. I want to say we signed about 3, 4, or 5 linebackers that year for like 2.5 scholarships. So a lot of kids who came in on halves. Those kids played a lot of football for us. But so obviously that was a position of need coming in to develop that group. And that's just an example. But, as you work through things, it takes some time to, okay, what are our current needs? Okay, and then how do we get our numbers at that position to where we want them to be? And how do you balance that out with, okay, now we got to give ourselves a chance to win right now? And that just, it's a balancing act, and it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. There are roles you got to play under. There's at this level, not only scholarship numbers but equivalency numbers, and because let's face it, we only got 63 scholarships to work with to sign 85 guys, so it's like having a salary cap, and there's a lot into it, a lot that plays into it. And let's face it, I wasn't at this level. I was working at the full, the full scholarship level, and so it takes a little bit of time for me also to kind of figure it out that this is the best way to balance it. This is how it's a balancing act.
Any of these guys going to come in early?
I'm looking at it right now. Yes, there are a couple kids that are going to be. Anthony Johnson, who's a transfer from Bowling Green. We're excited about Anthony. He's a kid who that we recruited out of high school, and so we're excited we got him. Stephon Jones will be here early. James Morrow will be here early. I think that's Lawson Schultz, fullback from he's a junior college from Butler. He'll be here early.
So the 4 transfers, for sure.
Yes. And with the possibility of a couple other kids that we're talking to.
You talk a lot about this class from before last year's and how you liked it, and I know the onus falls on you to develop these kids and whatnot, but how important is it to have kids, with good character and who are able to kind of build these guys up?
It's huge. It's huge. It's really big. And I talked to you guys how excited I was about last year's class, and we were able to redshirt most of those guys. I'm trying to think, maybe all of them, and possibility of we'll see how this group plays out. But we're talking about 2 classes in a row that I think are going to lay a foundation for this program going forward. And like I said, I have not had that luxury these are the first 2 classes that I would say that I've we recruited that. Okay, we kind of we're starting to get the roster and where we want it to be, so now we can stay with this game plan going forward, which I think I'll put it this way, you're not as much looking for a short-term fix. I felt like we were short-term fixing things for the first few years, trying to patchwork things together. Now we're working under the premise that we're building this program for the future, and not only for the present but also the future, and which is a good feeling from when you sit in my seat. That I don't Then you got to make those decisions. I mean, I didn't want to when I first came in. I wanted to win right now. You want to win, and you want to have a chance to compete, and you're patchworking things. You're trying to figure some things out of what our true needs really are. Now I have a better sense of where our roster is, where we are, and where we want to get to. And I think that our numbers are kind of getting where I envisioned a few years ago.
Will you look for a quarterback down the road a little bit?
Um,
Kind of like to get one per class.
Oh yeah, we have a quarterback that we have targeted that I believe we'll be getting him in February.
But you touched on 4 players not coming back, and
The couple of kids not coming back that it just was time to. I told you there were going to be some changes, and it's also there. It's about we just a question was just asked about about your culture and things, and we're building for the present and the future, and just some kids that it was time to move on from. There, it was some of it was mutual, and some of it was it's just there are different circumstances with each kid.
you say 2.
There's a couple. I don't have it right in my head as far as who you guys would think are going to be here and who's not, but there are a couple of kids that are moving on.
Any word on Justice?
Justice is back. He's coming back. Which that's the best recruit I've had in a long time. He just he could have went out. He had a chance to go ahead and enter the draft and weighed all his options and made the decision to come back. So I'm excited about that.
Do you expect all your assistants to come back?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, how the staff. I mean, I haven't really had time to deal with that right now, but that'll be more. We'll deal with that in February, or at the February time.
Canadians traded Kluber.
I wanted to say one thing. Yeah, Kluber's gone. I don't quite understand that one, but what they got for him. But I also wanted to say, we lost in the coaching community a guy who, Hayden Fry passed away yesterday, and I had the opportunity to work for. I got recruited by Coach Fry. I was able to. I played against him when I was at Ohio State. I worked for him as a graduate assistant, and as good a football coach he was a better man, and really was supportive of me over the years. Once as I moved on and moved up, and I only spent a year with him, but it seemed like 10 years, and he was. He'll be sorely missed. What a good man, and he had a huge impact on a lot of coaches. You look at the coaches that went through his coaching tree, and it's pretty special. And he had an impact on a lot of people. Had a big impact on college football, and he'll be sorely missed. I wanted to make sure that I offer my condolences to. Really, a lot of people there were a lot of heavy hearts yesterday when he passed away, because he impacted a lot of people, players and coaches alike. So he'll be missed.
What's your Christmas wish?
My Christmas wish: win a national championship. That's where our focus is, and I don't think we're. I've said this, and I don't think we're far off. Where you look at. I think that I think we have a good plan as to what I believe we need to do as a football team, as a program, to fix some of the things that I think plagued us last year. I've done a lot of thinking. I like our plan that we have heading into the off season, into spring ball, and so forth. And I like the team we have in place, and kind of where we're going as a program. So I think there are a lot of positives. Excited about this year, but believe me, I'll enjoy some time off. You signed 23 kids, and at this time of year, there were a lot of miles put on. But so it's time to get some rest, enjoy Christmas, and then hit the ground running come January.